Hey everyone, Melting Man 234 here with another Archie Sonic review. Today we'll be looking at issue 5 that was published on September of 1993. The front cover pretty much shows how fast Sonic's speed is with all the fire and flames in the background. Well, I hope this issue doesn't burst into flames if someone tries to open it. In the first story, Olympic Trials and Errors, we see Sonic playing baseball with himself as we see he is fast enough to hit the ball and catch it at a short distance. Quite the fast pitcher, isn't he? He goes for a long one and crashes into a building, and notices it's a stadium built by Robotnik. A swap out tells him that Robotnik challenges them at the Robotropolis Olympic Games, and if they win, Robotnik will restore Mobius to how it was, but if he wins, they are forced to be roboticized. So Sonic attempts the challenge, but the Freedom Fighters refuse to participate, as they know it's all a trap. But Sonic tells them not to worry, as he'll enter all of the events, and there's no way they can lose. Tails wants to help out, but Antoine disagrees, as he thinks Tails isn't that athletic to help out. So instead, Tails stays behind and heads off to make a statue of Sonic when they come back after defeating Robotnik. So the events begin as Sonic gets ready for the event, but suddenly grows weak and falls flat on his nose. It turns out that before the events, Sonic was out swimming, even though he can't swim. A swap bot replaces his sneakers with energy-draining sneakers and throws the real ones away. The plan works, but Robotnik is annoyed that he didn't get the sneakers, as he wanted to put them in his trophy room. So since Sonic is out cold, the roboticizer is called in, but Sally demands to let the events continue, as she and the others will take Sonic's place. So the games finally begin, as Antoine takes the long jump, but is defeated by Splats. Sally takes the swimming course, until Octus beats her to it, and it looks like weightlifting is the only event that they've won. Oh, never mind. The Freedom Fighters are in hot water as the final event is about to begin, a race against Robotnik's fastest badnik, Buzz Bomber. Meanwhile, Tails is in the Robotropolis junkyard looking for parts for the statue until he notices Sonic's sneakers and rushes to the Olympic Games to give them to Sonic. Meanwhile, things don't look good as Buzz Bomber has almost won while Antoine is left behind in the dust. But Tails manages to give Sonic his real sneakers, and Sonic uses his speed to create a cloud of dust all over the Buzz Bomber. The blind Batnik quickly crosses the finish line and wins, but it turns out he flew backwards and ended up back at the starting post while Antoine wins the race, tired but triumphant. Sonic later destroys the roboticizer as Robotnik and his goons flee before it explodes, but Boomer manages to pull the plug on the machine before it explodes. Thus, the day is saved once again. If only Antoine could wake up so that they can go home. In the second story, Chomp on This, Chump, Sonic and Tails help Sally remove a spoon from a very thick pancake batter until Boomer comes in and excited with an ad about owning an ant farm. Even though they aren't that impressed, Boomer mails the order anyway and soon gets the ant farm along with a canister where the ants are. I find it funny that no one notices the "Danger, do not open" label on the can as it's in plain sight. One of the insects launches out and starts eating the entire wooden table. Boomer pulls out his Insectopedia, and I'm not kidding here, that the creature is an insect called the Termite-nator that can eat anything made of wood and grow larger every time it eats. They soon realize it'll grow too big and devour the great forest revealing Knothole is, thus letting Robotnik come and invade their home. Sonic quickly pulls out Sally's cookbook and asks her to tell him how she made the stiff pancake batter. So he uses his speed to make the batter, as he adds in 10 cups of flour, a dozen eggs, 8 sticks of non-fat, non-dairy, low-cal, high-octane margarine, and a teaspoon of water. He then mixes the batter in a log and gives it to the Termite-nator, gluing his mouth shut, preventing him from eating anything else. Boomer examines it closely and finds out it was made by Robotnik. So after tampering with the wires, he sends it back to Robotnik, which gives him more trouble as he is now programmed to eat metal. And since Robotropolis is made of metal, it's going to take him a while for Robotnik to rebuild it. How ironic. So that's issue 5. The first story is a nice twist on how Tails acts as the hero and saves the Freedom Fighters from being roboticized and helping Sonic out. Although they won the race, Robotnik would have won anyway, as he won all the others. But obviously he cheated, and the Freedom Fighters wouldn't go down without a fight. This idea of Robotnik stealing Sonic's sneakers would be used in Sonic Labyrinth, and that game was released after issue 5 was made. So did the comic give them ideas, or was it pure coincidence? I don't know, but I'd rather read the comic instead of playing Labyrinth. The second story has its share of cheesiness, first Universe Salamander, and now the Termite-nator. And I think we'll be seeing more cheesy parodies in the next review. But I always wondered if they really are a race of Termite-nators and Robotnik roboticized one, or there's only one in existence, which is Robotnik's. Could have been more interesting if they had a full army of them invading the Great Forest. So now let's move on to issue 6, that was published on October of 1993. This issue is known as the first Archie Sonic comic to do a video game adaptation, or comic book tie-in, to a Sonic game. Back then, they used elements from the games as items or background material, but in this issue, we get to see Archie Sonic's take on Spinball with the first story, the Spin Doctor. Sonic and the Freedom Fighters are ready to tackle on Robotnik with full force, but find out that his factories have shut down. This sounds like the end of the story, but they notice a note on the door that Robotnik has moved his equipment to the Mount Mobius volcano. Sally tries to tell Sonic it's all a trap, but he ignores it, and Sonic heads over to investigate, only to be sent onto a conveyor belt leading inside the toxic caves, where a robotic sea dragon named Rexon catches him and drags him over to be killed by Scorpius. Sonic manages to do a double whammy and heads over to the lava powerhouse, where he meets two kangaroos named Hip and Hop, who escape Robotnik's prison. They warn Sonic about Furans up ahead, and sure enough, there they are, surrounding Sonic, but they are no match to his quick thinking and speed. He is then sent into the machine round, where a group of animals are in prison. Sonic tries to help out, only to be attacked by floating piranha plant heads. Sonic rushes into a tunnel that leads to Robotnik, but it was all a trap, and it sends Sonic right out of the volcano. Luckily, Tails was able to catch him in time before falling to his doom. Although he didn't save the animal creatures, Sonic has a feeling that this isn't the last time he'll go inside the volcano. The next story has Sonic and the gang doing a spoof of A Christmas Carol, where Robotnik plays the role of Ebenezer Scrooge, and Rotor, plays the role of Bob Cratchit. The story starts with Robotnik Scrooge's machines in motion, roboticizing people and so on, until Rotor pleads with Scrooge to let him spend Christmas with his family. So he agrees and reduces his lunch for 1 minute to torture him some more, and sends him away before he changes his mind. Rotor Cratchit wishes Scrooge a Merry Christmas, but all he gets in return is a Bah Humbot! Later that night, Scrooge sits at home with his pudding and TV, and waits for Christmas to be over, but then a ghost appears on his TV set and reveals himself to be Scrooge's old partner, Jacob Snarley. He tells Scrooge that 3 ghosts will appear to help him change his ways, but Scrooge refuses to believe it and gives him a boot to the head. Midnight soon strikes, as Scrooge is visited by the ghost of Christmas past, and takes him back to the past when he was a young, ugly-looking kid, helping Sonic and Uncle Chuck trim up the tree. While Chuck makes them some lunch, Scrooge gets on a tractor ready to bulldoze the tree along with Sonic, while Sonic uses his speed to create a ditch to protect the tree. The present Scrooge remembers this moment and tries to grab Sonic, but instead falls face first into some Christmas mush, where he is greeted by the ghost of Christmas Present. He watches Rotor Cratchit and his family in the present time as they receive a package in the shape of a turkey. It's revealed by Scrooge that it's a bomb that he mailed to Rotor and his family. Well, that's one Christmas spirit that Scrooge has, mailing people bombs. Must have gotten some ideas from Ahmed, the dead terrorist. But Sonic knows a Christmas present when he sees one, and knows this isn't one, and decides to send it back to Scrooge. This angers him and tries to catch him, but forgets that they can't see or hear him, and Scrooge can't grab them because he's not really there, and only viewing a scene in the present time. It soon fades to a deserted place where Robotnik sees an old man walking around, and it's revealed by the ghost of Christmas Future that it's him, and that he has destroyed the planet with his evil ways, and Rotor Cratchit and his family are too old to oppose him. Although I expected to see Chuck dead at this point in time. So Robotnik Scrooge is close to changing his ways, but quickly changes his mind when he sees his future self finally capture them after all these years. Sonic tries to stop them like old times, but he's too old to do a Sonic spin and falls flat on his face. The future Scrooge then receives the bomb he mailed to Rotor years ago from the slow mail delivery service. The present Scrooge tries to stop the future Scrooge from opening the package, but kaboom! So after all that, did he finally change his ways and become a good person? No, it was all a dream that Sonic had. But instead, the comic ends with Sonic and the gang wishing everyone a Merry Christmas, even if Robotnik still hates it. So that's issue 6. The first story is a nice short adaptation of Spinball with all the familiar locations from the game. Although Sonic states that this isn't the last time he'll go in the volcano, this is proven false as he doesn't go back there and free the animals, as Robotnik has probably roboticized them all by now. But I kinda like it that way. It shows that the freedom fighters don't always win, as the old saying goes, you win some, you lose some. The second story is like a sped up spoof of A Christmas Carol, although it's more like a weird Archie Sonic story instead of a Christmas Carol story. This is also the first time Rotor's name is brought up, and the first appearance of Snively, although this was all a dream, and his appearance was unofficial, and wouldn't make a official appearance in the main series until a few issues later. So even through some cheesy stories and a few errors in some of the artwork, both the issues are okay, especially the Sonic Spinball adaptation. That way you won't have to torture yourself from playing the Genesis or Game Gear version. Well, that wraps up this Archie Sonic review. So this is Melting Man 234 signing out.